Okay, happy September 30th, 2024. This is my traditional end of the month update. For those of you who don't know, I do these end of the month updates because my videos are backdated months in advance. I have videos that are not going to be coming out until March of 2025. That's basically stuff I'm working on right now. So I do an end of the month update just to share what I'm working on, and then the videos will come out later on down the road. First up, this is the Hoopty Green Craftsman. As you can see, there's a little bit of mud on those tires. I took this out mudding yesterday. Considering the way it's set up, it did extremely well. I also did a top speed run on this machine. It will do 17 kilometers comfortably without any issues. I don't really want this to go any faster since it is only first gen steering. The front end has been gone through, so I trust the front end, I trust the transaxle, I trust the pulleys, but I don't really want to go any faster than 17 kilometers. It does have an 11 horse Briggs & Stratton engine. I did kind of misgender this engine. I called it 11.5 a few times in a few other videos, but it is an 11 horse. This engine has electric start, pull start, it has the backfire prevention solenoid, it has a charging system. I know most people get rid of the backfire prevention, not me. I always run them. If it's a factory piece of equipment that's supposed to be there, I run it no matter what. I don't see an issue with running them. Also, that's the same that goes with low oil sensors. A lot of people remove them, but I did some work for my next door neighbor on a piece of equipment for his business, and one of his employees actually destroyed the coil by trying to get the coil wire off. He thought the machine had a bad spark plug. Turns out the machine was low on oil. It has low oil shutoff. If the machine did not have the low oil shutoff, it would have blew the engine up. And the machine's only 2 years old. It's an aerator. So fairly expensive piece of equipment. Yes, it does use a Chinese clone Briggs Vanguard, but still, they would have been much farther out if that machine would have blown up, instead of the $180 it cost them for my labor plus the part to put a new coil on it. So guys, keep your low oil sensors. They're not a big deal to keep. Moving on, here is pressure washer I've been working on. It's got a brand new carburetor. It will run, it will produce pressure. I think I'm going to be keeping this one for myself. Yes, it's a big pressure washer, but I do believe I'm going to keep this one for myself for what I need it for around here. It's got an 11 or 13 horse Honda, a real Honda. Primarily, I bought this for the engine. The pump working and the pump doing everything it needs to do is just gravy. So this here, I got to get the tank finished up. This is the last item from an auction in Cayuga, Ontario that I went to. So this is the last item I got to get finished up. I sold, it was a John Deere tractor and a Stag mower. Both of those sold for a profit, so we made out really good on those. So this here will get some money put back into it. Moving on, engine test stand. I ended up taking the front end out of the engine test stand and putting it in the Hoopty Green Craftsman. The one that was in this machine was very loose, very worn out. This one here that was in the engine test stand was very tight and in very good condition. This obviously will never be put back into service. It's a test stand, so having a loose, no good front end in it is not a big deal. The engine that is currently sitting in it is the one from the Hoopty Green Craftsman, the Kohler. This engine here is pretty much ready to go. It can be tested, and it's a complete engine for pretty much any machine that has a Kohler, or if you want to swap from a Kohler to a Briggs, really it does not matter. It's 100% complete, exhaust, starter, carburetor, everything. Moving on, Kubota G1800 just recently did an accelerator cable on this machine. Since it's a diesel, they call it an accelerator cable, not a throttle cable. Really not an overly difficult job to do. You do have to remove the dash. You have to remove this panel right here. Because the cable lives right here in this area here. You actually have to remove everything that pretty much holds the cable together to actually get this out. One issue I did run into, there's a grommet that goes in the firewall right up by the radiator. I did lose that grommet, not a big deal. It wasn't the easiest to take out. Definitely was not the easiest to go back in. It's a split grommet, so you can slide it over the cable and put it in through the hole, and I lost it as I was putting it back in. But this machine still runs, drives, does everything I need it to do. It is getting replaced. I'm hoping to try and find a four-wheel drive, either Kubota or Steiner style mower. I want four-wheel drive. That's basically what I'm looking for. But this machine here will most likely end up going back to auction in the spring if I do find what I'm looking for at auction in November. Or if I don't find what I'm looking for there, I will try and find what I'm looking for through either Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. I have found a few of what I'm looking for. I've even found a really rare MPV tractor, but a lot of them are just way too far away from me to even make it worthwhile to go and try and get. That's the unfortunate thing. I can find them. It's just finding them, for one, in my price range, which is right around $5,000, and two, finding them close enough to make it worthwhile to go and get. Judging by the mud on the Hoopty Green Craftsman, we have issues in our front yard at the moment with our road, so getting the trailer out isn't the easiest thing to do at the moment. So the only real reason I'd want to get the trailer out, if I found something really, really good that I want, that's the only way I'd get the trailer out. So, moving on. I have 4 push mowers right here. I picked these up from auction a couple weeks ago. 3 out of the 4 run. The 4th one I cannot get to start. I believe it could be this one right here. This one right here is a Poulan, self-propelled. Missing the bagger, unfortunately, but it's missing one other thing as well. It's missing a cable holder that goes right here for the brake. It was kind of jerry-rigged together. Unfortunately, it's kind of at the point where it's worth fixing, but it's not worth fixing. There's no real rust on it. It does run, and the drive does work as well. So it could be a good parts machine. If I can try and find a bracket or make up some sort of bracket that would go right here, it'd be perfect. So that's where this one's at the moment. This one here runs, no issues. And this one here is actually the worst of them all. The whole deck is actually rotted right out, as you can see, but it runs perfect as well. So this one here is a parts machine. I have another deck for it, I believe with a bagger. So this engine will be coming off. We'll be going on to a different machine. We'll go through the carburetor, possibly just clean it or replace it, but it does currently function. So really there's no issue, no reason to replace something if it does function, unless it does come up with issues later on down the road. So these here are really springtime projects, unless I get time to swap this deck. Then this deck can go to scrap. This one here, I'm still trying to look for a bracket for it, if I can get an OEM bracket. This one here I could technically sell right now as it is and get back what I have into all of these if I wanted to, or again wait till the spring. And this one here, gotta figure out why it won't run. I don't think it has spark. We even sprayed ether into it, it wouldn't do nothing. But my next project I will be working on, there is a Chinese four-wheeler sitting underneath that tarp. That's kind of going to be my next project to work on. I want to get that pulled out, get the tires all fixed, or hoops and casings, whatever you want to call them, and potentially try and get that to run and see what it needs to actually be functional. That's the plan, at least. I think the tires are decent on it. I know there's 1 or 2 flats. Also, it may have an issue. The engine may be seized in it, so I don't quite know yet. That came from an auction where I got the big diesel generator, the Kuma Falcon, and a Generac generator. All those items have been sold for profit. The Falcon just went last week. The diesel generator, I believe, went at the beginning of September. The Generac, it went to Jamaica. And this is all I have left. The diesel was planning on going to Jamaica, but the guy could not make arrangements to get here from Windsor to pick it up. So as a migrant worker working in Windsor, Ontario, he just couldn't get the arrangements. And for me to drive to Windsor, it's a 2-hour drive. So I don't like to deliver. So that's kind of what we don't really do much of. So I think that's pretty well everything. Everything in there is the same, just the John Deere and the Kuma Jaguar. Yeah, the Jaguar's in there. The Falcon's the one I sold. So that's pretty much it. Let's walk up the hill and do one more quick check. As the leaves fall off the trees, these machines get seen more and more, which isn't a big deal. First one here, this one is the Yard Pro with the Vanguard. This engine is basically a replacement engine for my racing mower. I don't really want to use it as that unless I absolutely have to, but this machine is definitely a hoopty as well. Also, it's got 6-speed in it, so it's kind of a cool hoopty. This could be pulley swapped, but to make it safe and reliable, again, it would need the front end gone through and a few other things done on it. The Roper, I got a hood for it. I got, I think I have just about everything else to put this back together, but don't know if the engine runs yet. It will turn over by hand. It does have compression. Other than that, don't know. The rear end is kind of stuck. The steering is kind of stuck, but this is one I would like to fix up. The other hoopty Yard Pro, this one is definitely the definition of a hoopty. It does run, it does drive. The transaxle is not the greatest. The engine actually runs halfway decent in this, considering. It would need oil change, stuff like that. It's got a new coil on it, but who really cares about new coil? They're a dime a dozen nowadays. Tires, fronts I believe are good. It's just the backs that are not the greatest. One of them I had to put a valve stem in because when I was trying to get it off this transaxle, it destroyed the tube. I believe it's this one right here. It's still somewhat holding. I did put a whole bunch of fixed flat in there as well. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with this machine. I might just end up giving it away, take the battery out, and just list it up on Marketplace or Kijiji for free. Come and get it. Runs. Yeah, I got nothing invested in this machine anymore. Yes, I bought a coil, but the machines I also got with this here, I've pretty much paid for this one and then some. I still have the Roper as well from that tractor deal and the Scots. So, yeah. And last but not least, the little white. I did try and start this in the last end of the month update. The gas was turned off. It does run. All 4 tires are actually good on this machine. And this one will get fixed and put back together eventually. Just not right away. I gotta get that trailer hitch off, straighten out that back plate. It needs a deck belt. I believe the belt and drive belts are okay on this. It needs something done with the ignition system. It uses a non-lawnmower key, so that definitely needs to be taken care of. Try and get that back in there so I don't lose this key. So either it needs the wiring harness replaced, a kill switch installed, or a relay installed. One of 3 different things. There we go. And yes, it cranks. So I guess that's pretty much it for this video here. I've covered everything. There's nothing new in there either, so no need to go in there. No need to go in the other sheds either. Nothing new. So I will talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.